Do I at least look human? I didn't even check. But yeah, StreamYard, I mean, StreamYard's relatively easy to use, and it seems to, I mean, compared to webinar on Zoom, it's so easy to use. I just wish they had a local app to take the load, because now it's the browser doing the work. And I saw that it can suck the CPU pretty hard. Well, at least on Linux.
Not only so hard, it will pause your audio, so it'll suck the CPU, and suddenly your GPU and your audio will just cut. And I've seen that happen quite a few times.
Yeah, and it's because of the encoding optimization it's trying to do. And if you have a native app, then it can optimize that to use GPU and stuff like that. I mean, on Linux, it was a nightmare, especially on Firefox, because Firefox could only share the full widescreen with 2 monitors, whereas on Chrome, at least it somehow knew about the monitors. So, but on Chrome, the CPU usage was higher than on Firefox. So, but now I'm running on Windows machine, so it's working as expected. And I think the CPU isn't as crazy. Just want to see if I've got a measure somewhere. Let's do that. This guy will tell me. Yeah, no, the CPU is working. No, it's not working very hard. It's like 20%, and it was close to 80-90% on Linux. So yeah, so it looks like on Windows, the Chrome knows about the GPU, and the encoding is doing the
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so it didn't like the upload. I don't know what went wrong. Can you hear me again?
I can.
Okay. So, because I've got a 300 line, so there shouldn't be any
Yeah, I've got a
challenges.
200. I've got a 200.
Yeah. So I don't know why it just dropped out. Everything stopped on my side, and I had to disconnect and reconnect. But yeah, you see, that's unfortunate. But we hope it'll be okay. Let's see if we have anybody online yet. I've got a session running here, which should give me some indication of how many people. This thing says the event will begin, but it's already begun, so I don't know why. It should be fine. Okay, it's showing live now. So we know that we are getting people. Hey, I want to turn this thing off because I don't need up and down. Dav is online. Thank you. Okay, thank you for telling us, Dav. Before we start, I have a wheel with the 3 people who completed the feedback form and added their names to the list. And Dav was gracious enough to tell us that he doesn't need a license because he got one recently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this one twice, and the second spin will be the one. So let's do a spin here. I'm not sharing this. Let me share this first. That was silly. So I'm going to remove that. Stop the screen. I'm going to share that window or a Chrome tab. Which one? Let's do that window. Okay. And okay. So you can see this spin there. So let's spin again. And this time it is Blessing. So congratulations, Blessing. I will be sending you a file containing a key that provides you with a 1-year subscription to one of the JetBrains IDEs. Congratulations. So I think let's hang on a few more minutes to see how many people are online.
Well, until then, I've got a game that they can play.
Oh, yes.
We've got a game. So this, you can go to aka.ms/tug-of-war. We're going to play a game, and while everyone's coming there, of a online tug of war. So you can go here, aka.ms/tug-of-war. And so if you share my screen, I'll show you exactly what that is going to look like, Cornell. So that is tug of war here. And let's make that a little bit bigger. And then I can get to know the people there. So if I'm just going to hit refresh. This is a Azure Functions, cost me 3 cents a year to actually run. And over here, I'm going to do Java or JavaScript. Check this out. And you go, let's play. Now you're going to click through aka.ms/tug-of-war. So that, and then we're going to play tug of war. So of course I'm going to go there and I'm going to click Java because we're a Java people here. Java, and then it's going to actually go through here, and it's going to go either Java or JavaScript. You have to give it a few seconds to update, but you can see there then it's going to go Java. So maybe we'll win Java this one. I'm going to go back to Java.
Let's share the link in the in here.
Yeah. So it's let me go back there. It is aka.ms/tug-of-war, and this is a great way to learn about your audience. And you can go and access. I'll show you the URL for this. You can access that in github.com. Let's go back there. There we go. Joe Scar's tug of war dash functions demo, and this uses everything HTTP triggers, completely stateless with Azure functions. So let's go back there and let's do some tug of war. And next one I want to do, I just want to hit refresh. Let's see here if we've got VS Code, or let's be controversial. Actually, what should we mention there?
No, man, it's VI and Emacs.
Yeah, let's do VI. No, Vim. Yeah, let's end our lives quickly, hey? And let's go for that.
No, but half the audience is gonna go, "What's that?"
Yeah. So let's go. Let's hit refresh here. And I'm a Vim person. Vim. Let's go back here and see what happens there. No one even knows what Emacs is. No, people know what Vim is. Oh, look at that, hey?
Okay. I wrote C code that was plugins for an editor called M. You can go look in Microsoft's libraries. The first versions of their Pascal and C++ shipped with an editor called M. It makes Vim and Emacs look like WYSIWYG. I can promise you.
Okay, so the next one we're going to do is
about
Postgres.
3 days to learn that thing's.
So Postgres or MySQL. Next one over there.
Oh,
so let's
okay,
go
that's
there.
easy.
I'm actually a huge fan of both. I don't know which one I would prefer.
Well,
I don't know.
But both have a drawback. For me,
I know.
But the biggest drawback is Postgres's JDBC driver.
I can't actually choose.
It's
look at that.
Support.
Okay, so Postgres won completely. No one even chose MySQL. Ooh. Okay, so let's go back here and let's do VS Code. Oh, let's check this. IntelliJ.
Eclipse. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's hit refresh. I work with the VS Code team, so I want to get VS Code to work. You know, let's just see here. Let's see what happens here.
You can't click as fast.
No, don't. No, no, IntelliJ. No. They'll kill me. I work with them. Oh, come on, man.
I
actually work with the IntelliJ team also. So okay, I get it. Okay, so and then finally let's do one because let's go Java 11, Java 18. Let's see what happens there. So the latest and greatest compared to the like what most people on know. So let's go Java 11, Java 18. Now, I haven't moved over to Java. I'm going to actually go there and do Java 11 because I haven't moved properly over to Java 8.
I have to be truthful. I've got stuff running on 11.
Look at that. So yeah, so most people are using 11 really.
I mean, 18 is 2 days old, so
yeah, but 17 also, you know, like you want to go there and everything. Okay, cool. So that's me. So as I mentioned, you can go in and access that demo, and it's like literally cost me 3 cents for like 3 years that I've used it there, and it uses a queue and a table, JavaScript, ironically, to trigger out here, and then you can go in and check how it works, and it deploys. It has a script and everything there. So that's everything for me, and so that's my. Well, I want to get started with my talk. Can we start, Cornel?
I don't know. I think Dav can maybe give us an indication of if he sees anybody hanging around, because I don't see anybody hanging around. It's supposed to give a number somewhere, but I don't see a number. So I'm going to add this one to tell people to say hi when you join the live stream. But there's a delay from when we ask stuff or when we say it until they see it. It's probably about 5 to 10 seconds. So, so you're coding on your phone? Because I was just wondering, the only thing I've got that's that I can take in the shower that
is your cell phone, because it's waterproof.
Yeah, on my watch. I can actually swim with my watch, but uh, um, the cell phone is going to be a bit tricky to code
You
on.
think? Yeah, not really,
And
and that's what I'm going to show you.
well, if you have a waterproof keyboard, then you
No, well,
can do
most
it.
phones are IPX4, and
Six,
some are
7.
even
Yeah, but you need,
IPX6 now. So
yeah,
really
yeah.
splash resistant, and actually 1 meter resistant. So
Mm,
that's
mm,
the crux of my talk actually, and how I learned how to code with that. Obviously, you can't do that because this dude
mm,
here, that iPad's never going to work after that because that's below a meter.
mm.
But that's the demo we're going to show you today. That's a Spring application to do. And you can see here, this is VS Code, and this is VS Code Dev. So you can go in there, and this is an IDE that is completely free. When I say completely free, I mean like this isn't even costed. You can go to vscode.dev and right now, and you can go and access. It's the same as github.dev, and that is what I do. So this is my phone. You can see there you've got the LTE2. And this I took in the shower. This screenshot I took in the shower. This is me running a session, and this is me running Maven install on my application. And you can type it in there. Obviously, not right click works.
So you're going to show us a video and you've blurred the appropriate bits. Huh?
No, well, I don't think that we will ever be able to show ourselves in polite conversation if I kalchat on live on TV, but no. So yeah, so this is the actual live share, and this is everything what you got. But the nifty thing is that this, what you don't see here, this is actually running on my phone, but it's running in Codespaces, 32 CPU, 64 gigs of RAM.
Oh,
This
wonderful.
instance there.
Well, I mean, my phone, I just upgraded to the Galaxy S22 Ultra, so it's got
Oh
a
my gosh, that is an
4K
incredible phone.
display and the pen and everything, and it just flies. So I'm going to take it for a spin. So you must share this the link to this project if it's possible.
Yeah, no,
Or
I'm gonna teach you how to do
or
that.
can you
So,
launch this from? Oh, lovely. So I'm gonna shut my mouth, and I'm going to introduce the audience to Rory Preddy, who is a principal developer advocate with Microsoft, focusing on Azure Cloud and their Java tools. So he hasn't abandoned the Java world. That's why he's talking to us. And I'm going to hand over the microphone to him and I remove my ugly mug and face. So enjoy and ask questions in the chat, and we will respond when it's appropriate. Over to you, Rory.
thanks, Cornel. So I'm going to show you how to actually code this application and give you a background also to what Codespaces is all about. And then you'll be able to answer the question. At first, they'll ask you're doing it, why you're doing it, and then later they'll ask how you did it, because it's about a cloud IDE. Why are cloud IDEs so popular? You know, we've got a lot of vendors now: Eclipse, Amazon, Microsoft, IntelliJ. They're all creating cloud IDEs. And in essence, though, it all comes down to, in 2011, the first real kind of cloud IDE was Monaco. Still around now is a high-performance web-based editor. And Microsoft used it with Visual. This is the precursor to Visual Studio Code to run basic scripting playgrounds. You can see there that's TypeScript in 2011. 2013, they created something called Visual Studio Online. So Monaco version 1, they announced it here. And you can see it's got some basic functionality that is familiar to you for VS Code. You could execute. You can see there you can go play. You can run some languages there. And we created a new class of tools, not an editor, not an IDE. So what is an editor? What is an IDE? So an editor is keyboard-centric, lightweight, and fast. It understands files and folders, not really project-based, and it understands many languages, both programming, and it also understands, spoken languages. So IDEs, project-based systems, integrated builds, code understanding, debug, source control integration, templates, wizards, and designers. So where does Visual Studio Code and Codespaces sit in there? So it has the best of editors, the best of IDEs, and then comes kind of in the mid-tier there for your tools. And we launched it, Visual Studio Code, in 2015. And I know that sounds like, far away, but in the day, there wasn't a lot of free IDEs out there. And we like to kind of look at code editing redefined. And it allowed you to have IntelliSense, debugging, built-in Git, and extensions. So many extensions there, and community-based extensions. And we partnered with the best of the best to be able to give that. Then in 2021, we launched VS Code and GitHub for github.dev, and you get vscode.dev, and also GitHub repositories. 2021, we launched the remote development extensions, and that included the Windows for subsystem for Linux, the remote containers, remote SSH, and GitHub Codespaces, because GitHub Codespaces is actually a collection of all three of those and also some other extensions. And it allows you to remotely connect to a cloud-based IDE. So what is Codespaces? So it's a managed environment for every project. Think of it as a cloud server, a Docker instance running on another VM that allows you to manage your project, feel at home even when you're away, develop from anywhere, and then you can have collaborative development using Git. And all of this is really hosted on a Docker instance. Now, you can get up to 32 core and 64 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of storage there. It's pretty cheap. I'm running on the beta, and also I have a GitHub Enterprise account, and it shuts down when you're not using it. So as a result, if you're using this daily, and you want to use the 32 CPU, you barely go over like $3 a day. Or you can go for the cheaper one, the 2-core, and you get like 18 cents a day. And my Macintosh at the time was, the high spec one that you could get, 16-core. But now, like I find myself spinning up the 32-core often when I need a little bit more oomph, and it is really, really high power. Now, you can access all of these machines. You need a Teams or a enterprise account, and a Teams is 7 or more users, and an enterprise obviously is more users than that. And then you get access to all of these VMs though. So how to get started? Wow. Okay, so that definitely didn't render in that for some reason there. So let's ignore why PowerPoint is not happy there. So first of all, how do you get started there? Let's go back there. So you can get started with quick starts. You can go VS Remote Try Java, and you can go Microsoft/VS Remote Try anything actually. So let me show you how simple that is here. So I'm going to type in all of these repos, and I'm going to go into, let's just close those tug of wars here. And I'm going to go, okay, GitHub, tell me VS Try Remote what? And look at this. I've got VS Remote Try Node, Python, Java, Go, PHP, Rust, .NET Core, C++, Ruby. And it allows you to actually go in and try any of the quick starts that you can get for the Get Started Project Explorer. What about if you wanted to do templates? Now, you can actually go in and from any project in VS Code, if you've got the Codespaces extension loaded, you can go template out your entire project for any of these kind of templated pre-created developer container files. Meaning that if you've got a VS Code project, you just go dev container, and you can go in, create Java, Azure Functions, Salesforce project, Alpine base. There's hundreds of those that you can actually do. Advanced templates, there are thousands of those advanced templates that allow you to do Docker Compose, Docker and Docker, Azure Functions, pretty nifty. Or you can just roll your own, and we're going to do that in the demo. You can just, anywhere you see code there, you can drop down, you can just go new code space, and it will create a new code space. So once you have that, what is a code space? So you've got your cloud hosted environments there. You've got your editors. You've got Visual Studio Code or any browser. And you can also use Visual Studio. It's in beta. Visual Studio, big brother Visual Studio, to actually do that. And once you do that, you've got compute, which is your Docker instance we're going to go through. And then your network, which is your VNet. And then your storage. A little bit more detail about the compute. So it's cloud hosted. They're hosted in the cloud, the GitHub cloud, which is actually supported by Azure. Virtual machine isolation. So once you run that Docker instance, though, it's isolated away as you would normally have a VM. You've got your environment customization per Docker instance. So you've got your own Docker file, and also you can do a dev container file there that I'm going to show you how to do that. You can even use Docker Compose. You can have a MySQL instance inside your virtual machine. Your network, there's no public IP address available, and it's so secure. You've got no inbound traffic, end-to-end encryption, authorized and authenticated. And what it does, it actually does relay ports. I'm going to show you how to do that. And it relays with a hash algorithm to show you the port that you're going to do by keeping your network safe and secure. And then your client connects via your editor. Storage, encryption at rest. So it's managed keys and protected data. You've got dedicated storage, and you've got single source of truth also via Git. And via your config, you edit a dev container.json. And that dev container.json, let's go back up there. You've got your forwarded ports. And you can see there, as I have my dev container.json, it tells me what my Docker instance needs to contain to set up my Visual Studio Code instance. And then you've got your environment config there that starts it up. And that is called GitOps. And it's a new kind of phrase that you've got now called GitOps, and that's Git-based DevOps. And this is your dev container.json. You've got your image, which is your Docker instance. You can see there, I've got my variant, which is my JDK instance there. I'm going to install Maven, install Gradle. My settings, the Java home, Maven executable home. My extensions I'm going to load into Visual Studio. Now, these are remote extensions, not to be confused with normal Visual Studio Code extensions, because these remote extensions connect to your Docker instance there, and then they send through data via REST interfaces. Ports, these are the virtual relay ports, and then the remote user there, that's the root user that we're going to set up with our Docker instance. Then on Docker here, I'm running Java 11 Bullseye, and it's actually pulling down from the Docker Hub, VS Code, dev containers, the variant there. It's got the install arguments. I'm going to install Maven and Gradle, and then Node also there. And then my Docker instance is set up, though. And then once I have that, if I wanted to open a port there afterwards, I can go into the VS Code instance there, and I can open up those ports there if I wanted to make any of the ports public. So what does this allow you to do? So here's the cloud, and I've got my Codespaces environment. Now, my Codespace environment might actually be hosted. You think about the cloud, but it could be hosted locally on my PC. Because remember, Codespaces is just a Docker instance. So the same Codespaces instance that you're running inside the GitHub instance, as long as you've got a dev container and Docker file, you can run locally. And you can run via your inner loop on your laptop, or you can run it on the cloud. You've got your Codespace environment, you've got your extension hosts there, and then you connect to that extension host via your VS Code desktop or your browser via your code editor. You can see your device. It can be any device that runs any browser. You've got your app being debugged, and then you've got your database there, non-forwarded port, and then the forwarded port there, that's your debug port there. You can actually go in and you can debug via your browser. So everything is set up for you to run via your browser. And this is really your inner loop and your outer loop. So step one there, we've got our dev cluster, which might run on your GitHub Codespaces or your local laptop, and you've got your code, test, and debug. Then you push everything to GitHub, and then that will run your GitHub actions, which I'm going to show you in the demo, your test scan, which CodeKL, and I'm doing a talk at DevConf conference on CodeKL. You really want to see that. Get your ticket, your virtual ticket, or come say hi to me at the Microsoft stand. And then you got your deploy that might use Terraform or ARM templates. And then you use Azure Policy to do your risk-based assessment. And then your monitoring for production or staging environment. And then you've got your monitoring will actually set back your feedback loop to your inner loop. So inner loop and outer loop. And this really is what we see at Microsoft really becoming the de facto standard for everything as code. So that's everything I wanted to show you. Now let's go in for a little bit of demo. I've taken a few minutes just to show you the slides, and you can follow the demo pretty easily. You can follow with me, and we're going to go through, let's go back through here. That's the demo there. You can go through all of that in aka.ms/codespaces spaces dash quick start. So everything I'm going to show you is via that repo. So you really want to stay on, because I'm going to show you the roadmap of what we got a little bit later. Now, everything I'm going to do, I'm going to run through the browser. Now, this is a bit tricky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm going to show you how to run this. Now, I'm going to choose my repo here, and I'm going to go to the VS Code try Java. And I've got a backup running, so don't worry about it. If it doesn't work, we can always go to the backup, and always have a backup with a demo. So I'm going to go to VS Code try Java. You can do Python or Node or whatever you want. And these are all templates here. So you can see here, I've got a template here. Now, understand, I'm using my personal account, which has a very limited access to GitHub Codespaces. I signed up for the beta, and then I still have it. But I also have an enterprise account here that I could use, and I'm going to show you how to get those 32 CPUs instances. So I'm going to use this template here, and I'm going to call this VMware, because guess what? Cornel actually got hired as a staff engineer for VMware. So I want to really congratulate Cornel, and it's VMware Cornel. To I think I may have not spelled your name Cornel. I can never remember if it's an E or an I. I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to make this public. You can access the VMware Cornel repo there if you want. And I'm going to go create repository from template. Now, this just creates a basic instance of your VS Code try remote, and it comes up with everything. But I'm going to go edit it now live. Okay, so you've got everything here. Now, watch this. I'm going to go edit this, but I'm going to go edit. I'm going to go vscode.dev. Check that out. Now, I'm going to go edit the dev container. Now, that's completely free, and that's github.dev or vscode.dev. And you can just access that. Now I need to go and edit my dev container and push it, and it's setting up. There we go. And let's just close that. Now I'm going to go edit that. And this actually has some very basic commands to run some tooling there. But I'm going to go into my dev container. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Dev container.json. And I want to go in and I want to add in the Azure extension. Now I'm going to push to Azure. So I'm going to go in there, and by the miracle of cut and paste, I'm going to go in and paste that in there. And I want to open my port there to port 8080, because we're going to do some Spring Boot stuff there. So I'm going to go Spring Boot 8080, and then I'm going to commit. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all you need to do in github.dev. So I'm just going to commit, and we go for Cornel, and then I'm going to, you don't even have to push. And it's completely pushed right there. And if I go back into there, and if I go refresh, you'll see there it just says now. Now I can actually open this in Codespace. I can just double click there, and I can just go new Codespace. Now it should actually go into my dev container and say, hey, I know how to set myself up. I'm going to set myself up here, and it's going to start the Docker instance. It's going to build the Docker instance, and it's going to set up the VS Code instance for me with all of the extensions and the forwarded port that I need. So it's opening up. Now you can see there, I can open this in VS Code desktop if I wanted to. And this will go locally on my desktop, connecting to the remote container. I'm not going to do that because I told you I want to run everything in the browser. I ain't going to touch anything locally. You can actually go in there and you can go view logs. And it's building my Docker instance. It's setting up Maven, Gradle, Node, the Azure Toolkit, all of that, and then it's configuring my instance. And this is a 4-core, 8 gigs of RAM. And you don't even understand, if I ran this on the 32-core, 64 gigs of RAM, it's like blazing speed. But I don't want to set that right up right now, because some of you might still be in the beta, and we're going to take this instance now, this exact repo, and I'm going to show you also on the 32-core 64 gig if we have a little bit of time. So it's configuring the instance here, and obviously this is a live demo, everyone, and we promise nothing. We promise nothing except everything can go wrong. So this is running on my browser. Let's go back here and see if we can actually see what this code does. There we go. Let's go back and let's see what it does. So this is just a Spring project. It's got app.java there, and app.java just says hello remote world. And also it's got a little unit test there that says app.test.java. And app.test.java just says assert true or false. So let's go back into our little thing here. There we go. Cannot reconnect. Okay, so let's just reload window there. We are streaming live, and I'm also streaming from South Africa. So sometimes this can disconnect or there. There we go. Okay, so VMware Cornel. Now what happens here? It's running. You see that little blue area there. Let's go blue. Let's go show you that. Look at that blue there. So this is VS Code, exactly the same VS Code that you used to, except it says Codespaces, because all of the difference is there. It's just running the VS Code instance there in Codespaces, and it's got my project set up here. Now it's using something called AnyCode, which is a very lightweight version of the Java language server that is going to run. You can see that you're using a custom server, and you can edit away. But it's actually a very lightweight server. I want it to actually run the big boy, which is the full Java language server. So I'm just going to force it in to do that. I'm going to say Maven install. And the minute I do Maven install, it's going to download all of the Maven libraries for me. And then it's going to actually go in and it's going to find my Java project. Now this is, you can see here, this is taking it's not as fast as I want because it's running 4-core CPUs. And a lot of the CPUs, what I found with the 4-core CPU are going to be used actually for Maven and for Java. And the one with the 32-core CPU, this just goes and it just finishes completely. Once that's finished, Maven's actually imported into my repo. And then I can go into here and I can actually see the full language server here. So we want to go into app.java, and I want to do that. Now, if I click on there, you'll see there that it isn't running the full Java language mode because it actually hasn't imported the Java projects. But I don't want to do that right now because I want it to finish with Maven. You can see it's downloading from Central. And then once that's completed, then you get the full language server. So what is the micro language server? Now, that's exactly what we showed you with vscode.dev. Remember that AnyCode there? So if I go to .dev here, now check this out. If I go to github.dev, and this is running AnyCode. Now, this will get this github.dev. This will give you basic Java syntax and editing. So if you go into that, now this is going to take that. So this is going to do the full Java language server, but this has that AnyCode running there, and you can see that that's the AnyCode running there, and that'll give you basic Java language syntax. And this is completely free. GitHub.dev, and this you can use at any given time, and you can also use vscode.dev here. You can't go run here, so you can't go. You can't actually debug it or do that. Right-click here; it doesn't really give you that option. You need to use Codespaces for that. So it's completed. Now I can import my projects there, and it'll import the Maven projects there, and it should actually give me the full Java language server. You can see the opening Java language projects here, and as long as you use, there we go, the same Maven there, you can view the projects, and now you can go in and you can just go run Java. So click there, and you can go run Java, and that will use the full debugger for Java, and you can get the full VS Code Java experience though. So that's the difference between the online editors that uses AnyCode and then the full Java language server that you get. So there's hello remote world. So I'm going to run a Spring project here. Now I've got app.java. Let's make that a little bit bigger. And I want to close that. Now, of course, I want to do a full Spring load. Now, there was a huge CVE, so critical vulnerability, announced today. So please drop what you're doing right now and upgrade your Spring projects to at least 2.6.5. This is very important. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to use the curl for the Spring starter. So curl https start.spring.io, starter.tgz dependencies. I'm going to use web data JPA H2 for the embedded database. The base store, I'm going to use the local directory, and then the boot version 2.6.5. From today, you need to use that. The Java version 1.8, and then tar it out directly into this repo here. So I've got everything here, and I want to import Maven always. Yes. Now I've got my project here. I'm going to just delete the previous files here. for the my company. So let's just go delete permanently. Yes, please. And then the tests here. I'm going to delete the my company folder there, delete permanently. Now I've got a little demo, a Spring Boot application, demo.application here, and that just really just goes in and says just run. Now I can actually run that here if I go just Maven install. That's going to download a lot of those projects there from the Spring application. You can see there it's going to download those dependencies. And once I have that, then I can actually run my Spring application. But I don't have anything to run it on. So I'm going to actually go in and I'm going to create a to-do application that goes in and creates a RESTful service. So by the miracle empowered in me to go in and do cut and paste, I'm going to go in and show you how to create a repository that stores to-dos and also use what was it again? Agile development. Yes. Cornel and I are actually doing a talk at JDConf for Playwright and with unit testing. There's so many nice unit test applications that are coming out right now. Let me just go minimize that for a second there, and let me get the code there. So in this application here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to go stream, buy milk, eat pizza, write tutorial, learn Java, go kayaking, and then I'm going to create to-dos here, set the description, and then save it in my repo, and then I'm just going to go find all for each and then print them out. And this is a RESTful service here. But you can see here, I don't have the to-do repository or the to-dos actually created. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create those to-dos. So I can go quick fix here, create class to-do repository, and by the miracle empowered in me, I'm going to go in and get my to-do repository, and let's go to-do repository, and then let's go there and get that code. And I'm going to take my to-do repository here, and it's just a JPA repository here, extends JPA repository. And then, yeah, you can see there, it's going to fail there, but we'll come back to that before. And then I'm going to get my to-dos. So if you remember here, this is actually saying, where's my to-dos? And it's complaining about my to-dos. So I need to go in and create a to-do object. Now, this isn't a record. I should actually update my demo to do records. But, you know, records are so new. You know, it's so hard to keep touch of Java nowadays. So we're going to go new file here, to do.java. And I'm going to go in and edit my to-do.java here with my class. So it's just a to-do here. It's an entity, and it's got description, details, and done. Now we need a controller. So I'm going to go here and go to-do controller.java. Live coding is always fun. And go back there and get that to-do controller. And the to-do controller is a REST controller, and it's going to get me my to-dos and also allow me to post my to-dos if I wanted. So create to-do and get to-dos. So now I've got all my classes. I'm just going to run Maven install again. I'm going to go build my project and download the necessary repos if necessary. And it's going to, you can see that it's actually downloading from the a lot of the repos from the snapshot, because I'm using the latest version of Spring 2.6.5. I want the latest there. It's running my Spring application locally there. It should actually, yeah, there we go, run my to-dos and a basic test case there. And that's really all you need to do. Now let's wait for those little red things to go there. And then we're going to do a debug after this. We're going to debug locally, and then we're going to push to Azure. Debug locally, but Rory, you're in the browser. How can you debug locally? Remember, everything is just in browser, and it's just pinging left and right, up and down between data. So I can actually debug on my laptop to my browser, or from my browser to my Docker instance. There are so many different combinations that you can run that now allow you to do that. I can even send this through to Cornel, who can debug for me, live share into my repo there. So everything's set up. So I'm going to go into my application, and now I'm going to run it here. And I should be able to say it's going to tell me which port I'm going to do. And build fail. Let's just go cancel there. What is failing here? Fail to do. Let's just clear that there. Let's clean that and let's just hit a refresh there. Let's go there. I think I was a little bit too optimistic. I did way too much with Maven, and it probably set the cache in a little bit confused. So let's go back into here and be a little bit less optimistic for Rory's hyperactivity. And let's go back here and see if the VMware. Remember, this is a Docker instance connected to a VS Code instance here. So sometimes I do find, especially if you're running 4 cores and not 32 cores, the cores kind of get a little bit out of sync there. So let's go into here. We've got my demo application and my to-dos, and we want to run this here with my job application. At the same time, let me start this up. I want to go back there with my 32-core CPUs. Now check this out. While that's taking it some time, I'm going to go to VMware Cornell, right? Now I'm going to focus into my GitHub account, my GitHub Enterprise. I'm going to go fork it into here, and I'm going to go GitHub Enterprise. Now this is the exact same repo that we're going to do here, except I'm going to go code, new code spaces. I'm going to run it in 32 core, 32. So and let's see how long that takes to actually start. 32 cores, 64 gigs of RAM. Let's go back here. And why are you not happy? So let's go back into here and let's go Maven install again. I have a backup any which way, so let's go back. I should have done Maven clean install actually. Let's go see, what did I miss out there? There are test failures. Why are there test failures? Demo application test. Okay, well, there's no tests here, so let's just get rid of our tests there. Delete permanently. There we go. Okay, cool. And let's see here, demo illegal state to find Spring Boot configuration. You know, I did change this to 2.6.5, and I think that they may have not liked that though. Did not detect. Let's go back there and let's go Maven clean install /d skip. And this was a urgent thing that the Spring team asked to upgrade everything there to 2.6.5. I haven't tested it. This was just, okay, built successfully. Yay. So let's go in there in application. It's probably just the test that ran there. And let's run that there. No, it did not. Hey, let's go fix that, clean the workspace cache. And I think that restart and delete, I think that workspace cache was corrupted. So let's go back in here and see if we can get through there. Always interesting to see demos that people can reach back and try to fix though. And I think it was the 2.6.5. It hasn't really been tested because it was only announced today. And I've upgraded it. I used to run a 2.6.3. So let's just go see here. Also, I've got another instance here that I've got already worked up, and let's try to recover from that. So this is here. This is my demo application, and this is my new one, my new instance here. So let's try to run here. This is the 64 gig one, and let's go into here and see if that actually is better behaved here. And let's see if we can actually go terminal, and we want to go, maybe it's just that. So let's go mvn install, and let's see that. I'm very curious to see how this turns out here. So let's go here. Let's see, are you going to behave? VMware Cornell demo application. And let's go Maven install. We deleted the cache. So what you saw there is I deleted the cache. And so this doesn't have the Maven repos here anymore. I'm going to do Maven install again, and it's going to download that. So let's see which one. So that's the 4-core, and this is the, wow, the 64-core just like went in a second. So that's the difference between the 32 cores. So there you can see there, the 32 core, obviously huge speed improvements there that you got. Maven took 2 seconds compared to the previous one. Yeah, look at that. Really huge speed improvements there. Let's try to run that now on the 32 core CPU. This is a great demo to show you the difference between 4 cores and 32 core CPUs. And yeah, the 4-core battled. It didn't even come right. And there I've got my 64 just working on the same repo. So I did corrupt my workspace. Now it's going, the application is running on port 8080. So I'm going to open in my browser here. Let's check the browser here, and it should have my to-dos here that we're running. Yeah, so there's my to-dos. We've got everything here. So eat bar milk, eat pizza, write tutorial, learn Azure, go kayaking. So let's go in and demo it. We're not going to do the 4-core CPU right now. This thing is battling really. We're going to go back into here, and we're going to go into our to-do controller, and I'm going to just put a little breakpoint there. How do you break on the browser here? So you can see there it's actually debugging right now. And now I'm going to go click on and hit refresh. Watch this. This is magic. Bam. Now watch the to-do. Look at that tag. It actually shows me a breakpoint in the tag, and it's broken there. Now I can actually go in and I can go watch, because let's add a watch here. And let's go to do. Okay, wait, we want to go to do repository. So let's go find, let's remove that. We go to do repository, and the world will never be the same again. Look at that. That is insane. Now I can actually go in and push that and return, and then I can get my repos here. And this is 32 core CPUs, 64 gigs of RAM. Now to push to Azure, check this out. Right click over there, deploy to web app. Now for the demo, I actually went in and created an app service beforehand. So I'm just going to go add, because it takes like 2 minutes, and I didn't want to take 2 minutes of your time though. But all I need to do there is just right click in there, because I added the Azure toolkit beforehand, and it says, okay, cool, sign into Azure. Now it already knows who I am, because I'm on the browser and I'm on Chrome. It's going to sign into Azure there, knows who I am, signed in there. And it's going to say, okay, cool, what app you want to do? So I can just close that there. Let's actually, where I want to close that, because I want to stop debugging. It's signing into Azure. So select your subscriptions, what subscription you want to do. I've got, as a cloud advocate, I think I have 100 subscriptions. I don't understand why Microsoft gives me a new subscription every other day. But the one that I want to use really is the CA subscription there that I've got. Okay, that's fine. And now select the app. Now I have gone and created that app before, but you can actually go and create a new web app there. It's pretty simple. VS Code, Java, RPZA, Rory Pretty, South Africa. Then deploy. I want to deploy all the time. And now it's going to go in and run the pre-deploy task, which is Maven. It's going to run through that process for the Maven clean package. And it's going to take that jar, and it's so clever because it actually understands what jar to use. And you can see there it's deploying, check the output window. It's creating the zip package. It's going to go in and take the file and zip it through to Azure. Now I'm still in the browser. I'm running 32 core, 64 gigs of RAM. You can see, it did battle a little bit with their new spring version. I haven't tested it too much with their new 2.6.5 from today, and it did battle a little bit there. And I cleaned the cache, and we started again. But the 64 one really flies in that sense, though. So deploying to there, you can check the output window here, and then running deployment command, and done. Now I can actually go browse the website. Now this is on Azure, and there's my website on Azure, and it's got all of that there. Now I can click this a few times, and I can go in. This is using a built-in H2 database. Now I can go into Azure, so the portal.azure.com, and I actually set up application insights, and our application insights is built in for free as part of your application service. You do pay very little for the actual data that it stores, though, but it's part of the app services plugin that you have with your services here. So let's, just so many subscriptions. So many subscriptions. Let's go back here. I want to go VS Code Java here. Let's make that bigger. And then I want to go into my application instance. I want to see how long that took. And the one that we just hit now into the database. So view application insights. I can go to my application map. Now I want to see, okay, the to-dos that I just did in the last 30 minutes. There we go. I did 25 calls here. I'm going to click on there, and now I can see end-to-end on Azure all the way through to the database. So let's go investigate the performance. It took X number of milliseconds, and to the database, the built-in database there, I can see I got my get commands there, and I can go into dependencies. What database calls do I have there? There's my database calls there that I have. I want to go to my selects, my operations, and I can go in and I can see I've got one core, which is what we did there, and I've got my samples. My get there. I think that get star is the one there. No, that's not the right one. I want to go back into my application map. I want to get. I keep on forgetting. It's not get star. It's just get star, because get star actually gets the server root, whereas get star gets the server root, and get star actually gets the actual service there. So let's go back there. I want the get there. The get command. I've got 12 services there, the samples there, and I'm going to go into that 29.5 milliseconds. There's my SQL command there. Select to-dos in my H2 database. Everything is in the browser. I haven't touched my local PC, and that's how you code in the shower with GitHub Codespaces. And you can run all of that. All I really did was just do Maven install and a little bit of cut and paste. And I can run all of that, and I've got 32 core CPUs running right there. Yeah, my 4-core CPU didn't it battled a little bit. But you can actually go in there, and now on Codespaces, if I want to go here, I can go into my instance here, and you can see here your Codespaces, and I can see them running. You can see they're active, that is running here, and I can go in here, and I can go change machine type, and I can actually go in there, and I can change the machine type that I wanted here, or I can just go and shut it down. So that's everything I wanted to show you today. And let's go back into our slideshow that we have here. Let's go play from, no, not from start, Rory. Let's go back up here and make that a little bit bigger. And we don't want to do play from start. Okay, let's go back there exactly. And demo. So, okay, cool. So demo, so you can go to the public roadmap, which is available on that URL there, and that gives you all of the services that we're going to do. And there's so much that is coming up right now. So what is the roadmap going to cover? So first of all, we've got private networking coming. We've got microservices, multi-repo, pre-builds. So those server that I showed you there, the 3264 CPU, they're going to have them pre-built that you can actually pull them in there, so your developers can actually use them. We've also got the free and the pro tiers coming up, and then also the GitHub Power App and Power Down. GitHub policies coming in there, so you can actually go in and apply to your repos, so your teams can actually work. Pre-builds there, so you can have your branches and you can pull them in always on or scheduled. And then mono repos, so you can actually have a massive repo that you can branch into that for machine types. And then multi repos, so you can have one GitHub Codespace connecting to another repo. Important. So you've got like 5 or 6 repos there. Your GitHub Codespace can access all of those Docker containers in there. And this is how you code in the shower. Obviously, that keyboard is not water resistant there, but you can use any really resistant. And don't drop your phone in there, because they say water resistant, but I haven't really tested out too much. You can access the demo that I did, aka.ms/codespaces, that quick start, the entire demo end to end with that. And you can also give feedback to the actual team to github.com/github feedback and /discussions. Follow me on @RoryPretty. Back to you, Cornel.
Wow, Rory, I'm still breathless. That was pretty awesome.
I'm glad it failed, actually, because I actually wanted to show the 64. It battled, and I need to find out what the memory requirements are 2.6.5, because they only your company only released this today. It's probably taking a lot more power, or it changed something else today.
Yeah, but there might be. I mean, the thing is with when you're running Java, I mean, you're running a language server and a lot of things there. And the moment you go past a certain limit, you're hitting the swap file, and then everything will crawl. So
I think it did that. And if you notice, the Maven
is
so
probably
Maven
a lower end that you need to be aware of. And so, okay, if it's a Java project, then this is going to be your machine configuration. And
yeah, I wouldn't go below 16. I know that it sounds a little bit, but for Spring, running debug and running all of that, I noticed that Maven was struggling with that. And Maven, when it struggles, it doesn't download a specific library. When it doesn't do that, then you actually corrupt your Maven cache. And I think that's what happened in the demo, that I ran it and I pushed it too hard and it corrupted the Maven cache, and then it couldn't actually work out what was going on there. And the 32 core 64 gigs of RAM wouldn't do that because it could just allocate enough resources to do that.
It just flies. I mean, my old laptop was an old Lenovo, but it had 48 gigs of RAM, and that thing flies. So the moment you hit 32 or higher in terms of memory, then Java development's a breeze. But if you want to run 5 or 6 containers in testing, then it gets a challenge, become a challenge again. And that's why you guys need to be aware of Test Containers Cloud, which basically gives you a test container, but it doesn't run on your local machine. It runs in the cloud and takes load off. Now, if you're running that alongside this, then you don't need that huge machine to run everything. So if you've got a 32 gigs of RAM on your Codespace machine, you'll probably be fine. And if you then use test containers, you won't add extra load to your backend side, because those containers will be spun up in Test Containers Cloud, and which probably sits in the same data center as Codespaces, because they're literally deploying to all the public cloud environments everywhere, so that you're close to it. So
definitely, if you want to run something powerful, look at these test containers. You've got Docker from Docker Compose. So this is the 64 gigs, and now you can go access your host Docker from install it from inside a container using Docker Compose. So we can do that, and then it will actually go in and change the dev container there. And look at that. You can enable. So if we hit OK here, this is going to start up our instance, and you can install Azure CLI, Docker, Git, Gradle, Homebrew, Docker, and reuse Docker engine. Whoa, look at that. Now I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to reload all of this to the latest version. And now this is going to need an override. Yeah, let's go override. Let's see what happens here. Now this is going to need a lot of memory. So we can go overwrite, and then we're going to rebuild. Now this is Docker and Docker Compose. So we're going to rebuild now, and you might want to actually run a MySQL instance in that, which means that your inner loop can you can code inside your Codespace instance with MySQL, Postgres, or even SQL, MS SQL. You can actually run Windows containers, or even Oracle, or anything there. You've got enough memory there. And now with multi-repos, you can actually connect to multiple repos. So you can have Docker in Compose in one, and then you can have another repo that actually has another dev container. Let's see what it's doing in view logs here.
Yeah, because typically if you're using if you've got a large project, you might have your deployment stuff in a separate repo, or some integration tests and stuff might be in another repo, and you can pull
your
them
Selenium test,
yeah,
you might want to,
or your Playwright once you've switched over from Selenium, because I think that's where it's aimed at replacing Selenium. But join us at JDConf and find out what Playwright's about.
Do you want to put the URL there for JDConf?
If I can remember, it's https://org.ms. Is it just JDConf, eh?
Yeah, I'll find it for you. aka.ms.ms JDConf. So it's aka.ms/JDConf. I'll pop it in.
Okay,
here.
I've shared it.
There we go. And Cornelio and I are going to be speaking on Playwright. So there it is. I've got Docker and Docker Compose now. Yeah, I can actually go in and show you that it's Docker and Docker Compose, because there's the dev container. And I've changed that now to, you can see Docker Compose. Look at that extension pack. So you can just close that. So just install. So I took out Java from there. It's now going to install Java. But now I've got my Docker Compose here. And I can actually run this Docker Compose locally and then run my instance if I wanted to. And it's coming up there. So my Docker file there. And then, yeah, so then there's my Docker Compose. And there's, so there's the Compose file there. And I'm running right now only one with the volume. And I can have my entry point there for Docker Compose. Insane. And you can go into those templates that I showed you, and you can even run MySQL and a lot of them. Look at that, Docker Compose. So let's just run installs there and Docker. And yeah, the world, it's like Dockerception that you can get with that. And you don't even need really, Java 11. It doesn't like Java 8. It wanted that. Okay, so yeah, and you play around with this. There's so many different little nuances around that. And then check this out. And then at the end of that, with my Codespaces, I can just shut it down, or I can just go delete. Now it's in the repo, so I don't even have to worry. Next time I spin this up, it will be the exact same thing again. And deleted.
Wonderful.
Cool. I'm going to stop sharing, and that's everything for me.
Rory, that was incredible. So everybody, I'm sharing a link to our feedback form. So if you want to be considered in the draw for the JetBrains coupon at the start of the next meetup, then please fill in the feedback form. If you don't, fill in the feedback form in any case, because Rory loves feedback. And
tell them how I recovered from my error that I actually created a 3264. And yeah, let's feedback and say, listen, 4 cores, 8 gigs of RAM, it's not enough.
Yep. So yeah, and if you think you did, there's something you don't understand, ask questions. The comment section on the live stream is still available, or hit us up on Twitter. You can go at Josie Jug, or just at Rory and myself, or just Rory, or send him a DM if you're very shy. That's why we do this, because we love to share. Rory's lucky enough to get paid for it. It's his job. But I think both of us would have been teachers if the salary was even mildly attractive. But this is why we do this. We'd love to share. We love to have discussions. This is how we learn. If you have to prepare for something like this, you'll learn a lot. You'll be surprised. And if you have something that you want to share with the community, please come forward. We can't just keep recycling the old faces. Even if you're scared out of your mind of public speaking, what we do every now and then is we do lightning talks, which are typically shorter. They're actually more challenging than a longer talk.
I think we've lost Cornel.
At least, have you?
And Cornel's frozen. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye and love you and leave you, everyone, and see you next month.
If you can still hear me, I'll say goodbye as well. And once again, invite you, please come forward with any suggestions for talks, or if you want to talk yourself. Good night, everybody. Stay safe and healthy, and look after yourself. Until next time. I'm going to end this now.